they don't know what they're doing. They fail because they don't have the structure and the standards in place. In the next 30 minutes, Sharif and I are going to be talking to you guys what you can do in the next 90 days to get at least 10 listings. And we're going to break down exactly how we have agents on our team that do exactly the same thing. Good morning, Sharif. How you doing today?
Good, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I know this is the we're going into the winter season, and a lot of people end up slowing down overall to for the holidays, or what we like to call is that they're reaping the rewards, like all the commission checks that they got over the summertime. They're cashing out, and this is typically when a lot of people end up slowing down. And what we see most of the time is that the beginning of the year ends up starting very slow. And today we want to really help those agents out there to have a good start of 2026. And we want to focus on listings. So, how can we get agents in the next 90 days to get at least 10 listings? What have you seen worked for you and for your agents on the team?
I mean, I say it all the time, Peter. You just got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? There's certain things that you're not doing right now that are probably the money making activities that you need in order to achieve those goals. So the fact of the matter is, it goes down to the basics. It's not anything complicated, right? It's the daily activities that you need to do day in and day out, even if you don't want to do them. One of the biggest things to do is to prospect, to make those phone calls, the follow-ups. All those things are what agents seem to lack, and they always are just stuck in doing those non-productive activities, especially down, towards the holidays and the winter months. Everyone starts to slow down. And that's the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be really revving up because next year starts now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see this all the time too, and I think you do as well. A lot of people get stuck in that, 0 to 2 deals a year because a lot of it has to do with mindset. And they are stuck in that victim mindset. And the victim mindset is pretty much blaming everything around you, and just so you can give to yourself an excuse why what you're doing is not working. But the reality is that's not true at all, right, Sharif?
Totally. I mean, I'm tired. Like, people will tell you they're sick or they had work or something happened to their child. Like, I get it, man. Life will always throw you curveballs,
Yep.
but there's people that'll pause and freeze up, and people that'll keep going. That's the difference there. Like, don't become the victim, right? You got to understand. Just take that and take everything that happens to you and use it as an opportunity. Use it as a learning experience, but don't victimize it, right? Don't start blaming everything else, blaming the market, blaming the people around you, the clients or the leads suck. It's all excuses, people. It's you that sucked, not the leads. So stop sucking. So really just pick up the phone and start making the calls. That's what it comes down to. Real estate is a people business. If you're not good with people, go sit behind a desk somewhere because you need to talk to people in order to transact.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And you see it all the time. And it's like, oh, I'm tired. I did 15 showings yesterday and I need a break, right? And then that break turns into another week of time off, and there's no consistency at all. So that's why we typically want to focus in the beginning of this foundation of the next 90 days is to really have a very strong mindset. And this is something that I tell the team all the time, and I'm sure you do the same. Like, I like to look at this as a pyramid where the basic and the foundation is the mindset. Then the second part of that pyramid would be the activity, which we would focus on next. And then the last part is the skills, right? So we have to build a very good foundation first, as far as having a very good and mindset where it takes personal responsibility, personal accountability, making sure that you do the boring stuff on daily basis. And once you have that mindset on on daily basis, and you know what to do on daily basis, then you can you will have that activity. But you have to build both of them almost at the same time. But always, when you feel like your activity is slowing down, I would go back to the mindset part and see where your mindset is at, and talk to somebody, talk to Sharif, talk to myself, or your mentor, and like, what am I doing wrong? So make sure like you are on the same page as everybody else.
Totally. I mean, I think people just get wrapped up in the last portion you mentioned, Peter. It's the skill portion. And it's that lack of confidence because they have that lack of experience from doing something like making phone calls. So they try to practice the scripts and they almost get into an analysis paralysis situation where they're just studying so long so they can perfect the craft, but never actually executing. So if you don't execute, you'll never get better at it. I mean, for God's sakes, you should hear some of our calls or even watch our videos from when we started. We sucked and it was horrible. Even if I listen to those calls right now, it makes me cringe. Like, what was I thinking about talking about? It was craziness, but you got to do that. I mean, now we're booking appointments on a daily basis. And that's another thing that you really have to set in your mind. You got to have a goal per day of what you're booking, right? It shouldn't be about, although conversations and calls are a good indicator, you shouldn't walk away from that phone until you have a minimum of 1 to 2 appointments a day. And if you really want that goal of having, 10 listings in the next 90 days, that's the only way you're going to do it. You got to make sure you got the goal of having 1 to 2 appointments a day because you need the at bats, right? And I've had people tell me, well, I'm 100% when I do listing appointments. I get every one of them. Well, you know what? You're not going on enough. That is totally the situation. Just make sure you have enough at bats, and that's going to take the consistency of making those calls every day.
I agree 100%. Take enough practice, go on every appointment you can.
Yep,
So, the first 2 weeks of the next 90 days, what we want you to focus on is building your structure and foundation. And that is building a schedule that's non negotiable, right? The non negotiable, perfect daily schedule that we've talked about so many times. And a schedule means that it has to happen. Like, if you say that you're going to be in the office or you're going to be making calls from exactly 8 to 11 or 8 to 12, you have to make 8 to 12. Nothing else comes in between. You don't take any appointments, you don't, post a TikTok video during that time or do anything else. This is what you focus on, right? So, and this is what we talk about in the next couple of weeks. You have to focus on building that schedule and don't practice your script in the next 2 weeks and not do anything else, right? We want to practice as you're doing it. You're practicing on the leads. You're gonna get better as you go, just like Sharif said. If we waited until everything is perfect, it would never get done, right?
it's true. I mean, you really want to focus on your schedule is definitely a fact, Peter. Without that, you're going to do things haphazardly and you're going to be overwhelmed and burn out. And you're never going to get to the level that you want to get to. So, for instance, I know we run similar schedules. The first thing you want to do is block out that downtime and family time because you're going to need that, right? And you want to be fair to the people around you, the reason why you're doing this. So, make sure you block out that family time. Next thing you're going to block out is you're going to have to block out your call time. And I definitely suggest you do this. There's a couple ways, but the most popular way, the way that I know we both do, is blocking out time in the morning, right? Getting it done before anything else. Real estate technically starts at 11 a.m. Everyone is basically sleeping prior to that, right? They're not doing much of anything. So you should utilize that time. So I like to do my calls between, after our morning huddle up until about 11 or 12, because I know that there's not a lot of activity going on otherwise, right? At least I'm planting the seeds. Although I'm not getting a lot of communication or pickups, that might be the case some days. I'm leaving a message. I'm sending the text messages. I'm sending the follow up emails. I'm planting the seeds. And that's what we need to do if we want to harvest later on. You got to plant sometime because you won't have anything to harvest later on. So that is key. Block your schedule, block your family time, block your call time. Then your transactional time will come in between. Your appointment time will come in between. You'll find that everything else falls into place because now you've made those phone calls so that you have appointments to go to either that day or the next day during those hours. So that is imperative. You have to make sure you hone in on your schedule. And that doesn't mean just, hey, let's set it and forget it. I mean, I live by my calendar. I literally, the night before, the next day, I'm looking at my calendar on my phone. What do I got the next day? In the morning, what do I got today? Even throughout the day, where do I go to next? My life is dictated by the calendar. So you need to get yourself into that mindset. You have to start using the tools that you have at your fingertips, literally. So do that. That is your first step to excel and actually achieve the goal of hitting 10 listings in 90 days.
Love it. And the next part is that we want to talk about too is the week 3 to 6, and this is when really like we like to call is where the rubber meets the road, right? So this is where you're pounding the phones. Your first couple of weeks, you're probably still not really good at converting the leads yet, but by week 3, if you're doing this consistently, you should start gaining a little bit more skills. You should be a little bit more comfortable with being on the phone and handling objections and developing that thick skin of getting rejected on daily basis, because let's face it, it's going to happen, right? But you have to get over it. It's not one of those things where, like, if somebody curses you off on the phone, you go sit in a corner and cry about it, right? No, you just keep going. It does happen. That's the name of the game. And we
It's
want to
rejection therapy, right? That's
yep.
what it is. Like,
100%. Um, so we want you to focus also on, calling for sale by owners, expired listings, circle prospect around open houses, any listings that your office or your team has, and just lead with value. This is what we want you to focus on, right? Leading with value, and don't be too salesy to the point where the clients will feel it on the other side and they just hang up on you, right? How can we lead with value, Sharif? And what do you think works in today's market with leading with value?
first of all, you got to get into the mindset of it, right? You just said it before. You always got to get into the mindset before you begin and understand that you're providing a service and you're there to help a person, right? Let's forget the word lead. It's a person. You're talking to them about the problems that they have and the reason why they might have clicked on your link or contacted your office or anything along those lines. You got to talk to them like they're people and figure out what the problems are. What are the issues, right? For instance, if it's an expired, what was your experience past time around? What did you feel went wrong? What did you not like about what was going on? Ask those key questions. A for sale by owner, talking to them about, where they're going. How do they feel about the process themselves? Do they feel like they're achieving what the goals that they wanted to achieve? Is it too much or too little for them? Just giving them advice about their pictures, their placement. I've had multiple conversations with FISBOs telling them about how this works and how I can show you, not do it for you, because I know you're capable of doing it yourself, but telling you how to do it yourself. Like, hey, you might want to switch number 2 and number 4 pictures. It'll give you more views that way. Anything like that is value related. And then just someone that you meet at an open house, right? Providing value about the area, providing value about your services, providing value, something that they're looking for. It's not always about you, it's always about them. So take yourself out of that scenario and pretend that you're talking about them. That's what we're doing here, people. So that's really the case there. I think that's really the mindset you want to be in prior to talking to anyone and providing that value.
Absolutely. And you've said it before, Sharif, and I've learned this from you. It's like you go to for sale by owner, you see, for example, they don't have floor plans, right? You know, try to offer something of value like that. And what was that app called, Sharif, that you've used
QB
before?
Casa, one of the
QB
most
Casa.
amazing apps that I learned from my actual manager, Michelle. I think it's a definite value add in any type of situation, buyer or seller, right? And for most cases, it's free. And yes, that is a great way to add value to a FISBO. I mean, did you know that you get 30% more views on a property just by having a floor plan? Boom, right there's your line. Take the script and run with it. And
Yeah.
download QB Casa, book an appointment to visit them, and provide them a freaking floor plan. It's really not that hard. But when you do that, you're going to build some type of trust relationship with them because you're actually communicating, you're bonding, and you're providing something that they need. Now, in turn, when they need something else, they might reach out and call you for that. And if you're building that relationship, even if it's for not that just that person or that listing, they'll mention you to someone else. And I've had that happen to me. I mean, we closed $1 million listing in Chesterfield, and the guy got my information from his neighbor, right? I didn't even list the neighbor's house. I just provided value because he was a FISBO selling on his own. And I told him exactly what to do to sell on his own. And he sold on his own. He did
Isn't that
well with
great?
it. Yeah, it was great. He did well, but then he referred me someone, his neighbor, who actually utilized our services. So don't always think about that transaction right there. Again, I can't say it more enough. Plant seeds everywhere. And the seeds that you plant are value. Those values will sprout into a money tree like the one behind me. Believe me here, people, you got this.
Yeah. Another thing too that I think a lot of agents should be doing right now, because we are approaching at the end of the year, is reaching out to everybody that you've closed the house with, if it's a buyer or a seller, and just ask them, "Hey, do you still have a copy of the closing disclosure or the Alta here? This is what we call it in New Jersey, because you're going to need that when you do your taxes next year." So reach out to everybody that you've closed with and just provide them that, because let's face it, most people don't are not well organized with keeping up with their paperwork, right? And when they file their taxes for 2025 and 2026, they're going to need that piece of paper.
Mhm.
And you want to be the one that's reaching out, and that's a very good way to also convert people and touch base with people that you haven't talked to, that you've helped, maybe earlier on the year, or somewhere else, right? So just think how you can lead with value.
Definitely. I mean, if you're not going to make the phone call, at least set up an automation for it. I
Yeah.
can tell you we have an email automation that goes out about 2 months prior to year end. And it's probably our most opened email in the automation scheme. And it really, all it is asking the seller or the buyer if they want their closing documents for next year's taxes.
Yep.
And we get the most replies on that. And the thing is, it starts another conversation. That's all we're trying to do is just conversate with people. Again, the more you talk to someone, the more they're going to trust you. And that's what we want to do, even post closing, right? There's so many times I go on appointments and I check the MLS. I'm like, oh, I know who that agent is in the market. And they haven't followed up with this person. And now they're contacting us to sell their home. So
Yep.
it's about that post closing too, right? And it might not just be that house, it could be one of their friends, family members, or someone they know. So it's about building your pipeline and it's every day you're doing it. And if you want to do listings on a high level, you got to concentrate on that. Make that your main objective, right? You should be thinking about it every day. How am I going to get another lead? How am I going to get another appointment? How am I going to get another listing? And set those goals for yourself.
Absolutely. So it's a relationship business, guys, and this is why a lot of agents get stuck also in producing, 2 to 5 transactions a year, is because they're so focused on the transaction and not the relation. The
It is.
relationship compounds over time, and that you have to be able to lead with value, and then people will recommend you and refer you to other people. Just like what Sharif said, it's the most opened email that he gets, and that's just because again he's leading with value and staying connected with his clients and having that strong relationship with them, right?
Yeah.
The next part we want to talk about, week 7 to 10, is this is the conversion mastery, right? So you are getting on the phone, you're getting the consistency in place. Maybe you're booking an appointment, but the next thing that we want you to focus on is tracking your conversion, right? When we talk about conversion, is what is the number of calls to number of conversations that you're having that are lasting over 2 minutes, and then from conversations to appointments, and appointments to sign contracts, and obviously closing, right? So, Sharif, let's break that down. And how can they track this, number one, and what should they really be focusing on as far as number of conversations they should have and appointments?
Yeah, I mean, you should have, I mean, I preach it all the time, some type of CRM system, some type of tracking software where you're actually keeping the data. So either your system, your CRM is doing it for you, or you can look at an actual report and actually look at that data, or you're going to have to do it manually within a spreadsheet or find some type of software that does it, right? There's plenty of things that you can use to actually track that data. And you really, what we're looking at, on a daily basis with the team is really how many phone calls were made, how many text messages were sent? How many emails were sent? And then, most of all, the most important items, conversations over 2 minutes, minimum of 10 to 20 conversations a day over 2 minutes, and then appointments booked. That right there is your goal. Like, there's only three outcomes to a conversation, people. You're either booking appointment, you're booking a follow up, or you're deciding you're not working with the person. That's the only mindset you should have when you're on a phone or in a conversation. It's like, great. Does Tuesday or Thursday between 2 or 4 work for you? Book the appointment. Oh, that doesn't work. You don't want to meet right now? No worries. Do you mind if I follow up with you next week and we can talk about it then? Oh, great. we're not having a great relationship, we're not meshing well. You know what? This might not work out. Maybe I can refer you to someone else that you might mesh with. Or you just decide that you just don't want to talk to them anymore and they're not for you. Maybe they're rude. Maybe they just don't like you as a person. Hey, people don't get along with everyone else. It happens, right? And those are the three outcomes that you want to have in a conversation. So if you think about that, it'll make, your actual goals achievable, but you have to have those metrics that you're looking at on a daily basis. And the reason is because then you'll know where you're at and how you can grow, right? So you got to pay attention to, well, I got five, listings this week. What did I do to get that? And how can we replicate it and make it better? Right? That's the only way to do it. And with us, we do it just simply through our CRM system, which keeps track of everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also a really good way to see if, for example, you're on a team, compare your activity and your conversion to the top producers or maybe to somebody that's doing it at a high level, right? If somebody's making 100 phone calls and getting, for example, 10 2-minute conversations, they're at a 10% call to conversation ratio. And then if you're at 200 and you're getting five, you got to see, okay, well, how can I improve my conversation skills? Maybe I need to focus on asking more open-ended questions. Asking, peeling the onion back is like what we like to call it, is find out more about their motivation, right? Because if you're calling and all you're saying, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? And say no, and then they click, you're gonna burn through a lot of phone calls before you actually try to convert those leads. And guess what? These people that tell you no, I see it all the time. They end up either buying or selling in a week or two, or maybe a month or two. But you're probably just like we talked about and Sharif talked about, you probably just suck at converting the leads and not knowing how to really have a meaningful conversation with them. So you really have to double down on that. Like, and that's why we want you to focus on that 2-minute conversation. The only way to have a 2-minute conversations or longer is by asking open-ended questions. And that doesn't mean that you talk more than the lead or the client that you're speaking with on the phone. You actually should be talking 20 to 30% of the time and they're talking the rest. So you have to be leading the conversation by asking them questions all the time. Right, Sharif?
Yeah, it's so true. And you really have to focus on that, right? Because the issue is that people don't realize, and we're all guilty of it. We all have this barrier or this wall when we initially start conversating with people, especially with people that we don't know, right? And we kind of put this barrier around us because we're trying to protect it, thinking it's a scam or just not wanting to get to know someone. Just, just any excuse that pops in your head could be the reason. But the fact of the matter is, the longer you spend talking to someone, the barrier starts to come down, right? That's what we want to do. Those are what we want to achieve. Take those barriers down, ask the right questions, and find out why they actually landed on your landing page or they called in to see a property. Like there has to be something in the back of their mind of the reasoning. People don't just go online and just start clicking contact agent on Zillow for the hell of it. It's not a game, right? Try to figure out that mindset. Like what brought you here, right? What is it that you're thinking about? And when you're having those conversations, if they end up being over 2 minutes, they start to be a little bit more of quality conversations, not just that quick question, like you mentioned, Peter. Hey, you're looking to buy and sell in the next 6 months to a year? No, click. All right, great. Well, why don't you follow up to that with, well, what brought you to that home value page that we have? What
Mhm.
did you think about the value? Why did you think the value was too high? Ask these questions so that they start providing you information and you start to get the truth out of it because no one's going to lead with the truth. They lead with protection. The truth is behind it.
Absolutely. And just let's face it. I mean, everybody, has that sales skepticism when they get a call from somebody that they don't know, right? And then you have to work really hard on how can I break this barrier between myself and the lead by again just having that more of a friendly conversation and also maybe leading with something of value. Like, if they're not interested, well, hey, I'm gonna be in your area in the next week or so, and I'm gonna be dropping a home evaluation or a home value report to one of your neighbors. Would you be interested in getting one? Right? Like I'm doing this for free or something of that sort. Or, again, just going back and asking them, well, what attracted you to this neighborhood when you initially moved in here? Where are you planning on going? So is this your forever home? right? Like if you were to wave a magic wand, right? We love this question and I know you use it. If everything checks off and let's say, you get a good number, would you even consider entertaining an offer right now? So you just have to get really good at asking these questions and really peeling the onion back because there is a reason why they clicked on that website. There's a reason why they, you know, asked to look at their home value, right? There's always a reason, but they usually don't tell you that over the phone.
No?
But you just have to keep asking and asking and asking. Just have that curiosity of a child, right? Like you have kids, Sharif, and I'm sure, and I get it too because like when you tell them no, like what do your kids say, right? Like why? Like
Why? Yeah,
yeah,
questions all day.
yeah, keep
That's a
asking.
good analogy. Just make yourself back to a 10-year-old and pretend that you're a 10-year-old talking to someone.
Exactly.
That's the best analogy right there. I love it, Peter.
That's awesome. So, and the last part we want you to focus on is really optimizing and scaling what works and just have fun with it, guys. Just have fun. Like, gamify the whole process. Try to maybe have a very friendly or small competition with your coworkers, your teammates, the people that you have in the office. Because typically, when you have challenges going on and gamifying it and really try to enjoy it and make fun out of it, I have one of our squad leaders here, Alvaro. His motto is like, just have fun, bro. Like this is how he rolls in into making his calls. Like he feels like he's having fun while doing it. Like it's not bothering him. So if you have that mentality of like, oh my god, I'm here, I'm making the calls again. You're gonna sound like you don't even want to talk to that person. Your tone sounds horrible, and also you're not gonna be in the mindset to really talk to these people, right?
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, there's a lot to it. Definitely mindset is one of the key elements. But the fact is, I love how Alvaro, actually treats it. If you're coming to something and you're not liking it, you're not gonna have a good outcome out of it, right? And it happens to everybody. So if you definitely can find fun in it, that's exactly what you want to do. And making it a game always makes it a lot easier, right? And find your tribe. It might not be a team. It could be people in your office. It could be people that you know across the country. Who knows? Go out there and talk to people. If you're having issues, go talk to a top producer in the area. You never know if they're going to share or not with you. And most people do, right? You got to come from the abundance mindset and understand that, right? That there's enough business out there for everybody and we all could be helping each other. So try to find help and also help someone else. And really, it completes the circle.
Love it. Yeah. So try to get your mindset right, gamify it, and also the last part is double down on what's working. So, for example, if you're having very good success with open houses and circular prospecting around that, double down on that, right? Find what your niche is and double down on it. And this is why we go back and Sharif always, preaches about the CRM and we do as well because in order for you to improve anything, you need to track it because you can't track what you don't measure, right? So you have to be very good at measuring that stuff. And please, for the love of God, don't be posting a listing with a Zillow link on your social media, right? Like this is one of the things that kind of takes me
Mhm.
off. It's like, why are you sending people to a Zillow website for Zillow to make money off of it, and you're not getting any of these leads, right? I see this all the time, and I'm like, I just don't get it, dude. Like,
Yeah, because I mean, one of our friends, both of us, know Rob Dukinski. I remember he told us one time it's listings have babies,
yep.
right? And those babies can either be boys or girls. They can either be buyers or sellers.
Hmm.
So if you're not capitalizing in every way, you can actually get more people to contact you off a property. That's all it is. Leads are just people contact information with intent, right? So really, you should be utilizing any type of tool that you can to collect that information from people. And when you point people to like a Zillow page or a realtor.com or any other page besides your own, some type of landing page that captures information, you're just wasting it. It's actually just wasting a post. I'm not even sure why you're posting. It doesn't make a sense because you can't control it, right? Great, you're providing a service to your client, advertising the property, but Zillow's doing that much better than you are anyway. So don't think that your post is actually going to add more value than what Zillow already did, right? So the fact of the matter is, you just have to actually try to follow up with the people that are contacting you now, right? And you can't do that when you're providing a third party site. We want to collect their information and actually be able to follow up with them and see why they clicked on that link. Again, the conversations that you're having, the right questions that you should be asking, and just building your database of people. And it doesn't happen overnight, people. You got to make those phone calls. You'll get better. You'll start to build up. You'll get book more appointments. And eventually, that your goals will actually come into play. And really, that's how it is. It's not every top producing listing agent didn't just wake up and become a top producing listing agent. It took hours and days and weeks and years of sacrifice and developing. And that's what it takes. Every day you become better than the prior day. And that's what your mindset should be.
Such a great ending to the podcast, guys. And if you find value in this podcast, and this is what actually we would like you to do, if you're going to be participating in this 90-day challenge or the 90, like 10 listings in 90 days, please tag us on social media. We'll put the links below. We'd love to be a fan of yours and cheer you on during your whole, challenge in the next 90 days. And would love to just, give you anything that works for us and what worked for us. And if you are struggling with anything at all, feel free to reach out to either one of us and like and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. And if you do, again, have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out. And
I got one more thing too, guys.
sure.
If you comment below, we'll send you all of our lead sources that are pay at closing. So comment below. We will send you those lead sources that we use day in and day out to list. I mean, minimally, Peter and I are listing about 75 to 80 homes a year. So, guys, if you want those actual lead sources that we use, comment below, like and share, and we will give you that list of lead sources.
Yeah, I love it. And we're always been in the mindset of contribution and not scarcity mindset. And because I think
Mhm.
that's how we all grow all together. And that's why we're doing these podcasts and events. As if you haven't been to our events, we'll let you know on the next one. It is local and in person. But we're entertaining the idea to doing once on Zoom as well for those that would like it. And if you do want us to do those events on Zoom, for those that are maybe other states, please let us know. We just like to know what you want more from us that we can provide you that can add value to you.
Definitely.
All right, guys, thanks for listening and stay tuned for the next one.
Bye, guys.